Are the Detroit Tigers ready for prime time? Probably not, although that hasn't stopped me from trying to will it into existence for the past couple of seasons. This year, we're doing okay at 24-31. It's okay for us, but still perhaps not as good as you would expect. I mean, the rotation's solid. I mean, we don't have a Clayton Kershaw, but, the rotation's solid. The bullpen does need a bit of work, although, again, the two back-ending it are both tremendous, so I can't really complain. And then lineup-wise, things have developed pretty damn well. That's a pretty strong lineup, all things considered. And actually, to take a look, I mean, you look at the ratings that we have across the board, it's getting there. It's certainly getting there. The last draft went relatively well. Again, I have my doubts over Rosales ever developing, although Carlos Quevedo looks great. Matsuzaka is a very interesting one as well. This actually brings me to the point of Tristan wanted to see a couple of players. So on the White Sox, Kevin Karlik, 2158 and an 82. We're looking at Kansas City, where we had Lassiter, who was a 72, 20, and 82. Maybe we should have gotten that guy. And on the Mariners, you wanted to see Franco, who was also pretty good. So, yeah, Tristan, you wanted to see those three players, I'm guessing, because I probably should have ended up with them. And, yeah, it might have gone pretty well. We only had 3 picks in the past draft, and again, in the last episode, I screwed up the friggin' Rule 5 like an idiot. I didn't notice that the 40-man was full. I didn't do the math properly. Which is what happens when you record and make a very dumb mistake. But that's okay. How far ahead would this team be if we had been able to take part in the Rule 5? Not entirely sure. But regardless, we didn't for just the second time in this series. I don't think it hurts us that much. Holy shit, as we kick the hell out of Cleveland and then lose to the White Sox and the Rays. Okay, well, I'm like, holy hell, we might be doing well. And then we lose 5 straight games, but we did beat Tampa in the final game before splitting 2 against Milwaukee. I'm nervous for this episode. I guess that's the right way to phrase it. I'm hoping that we see this team battle back towards 500. I mean, we're 8 games back right now. We're pushing towards the All-Star break. You saw the voting there a second ago. We don't have anybody who's up there at the moment, so it's not going to be looking too good. We are, barring a miracle, going to be under 500 heading into the All-Star break as Dylan Cousins is traded to the Mets. Absolute monster. That's a hell of a trade. It's a ridiculous deal as we get ready for 3 more games against a very good Minnesota team, and we swept them 2 games. We win them both. We're at 500, and we're not. So we will be... we'll be 4 games under before the All-Star game, which is a bit disappointing. But obviously, we are well on our way to having our best season to date. Our best win total is 56 games. We have 42 as of the All-Star game. So things are looking all right for us. Let's see who made the All-Star game for us. We know we have, of course, at least 1 representative. Will we have multiple? And I don't know if we're going to. Eric Encarncion makes another All-Star game. What a monster he is. I mean, you look at those stats. Like, those are insane attributes. Aside from the fact that he gives up some walks and the velocity is a bit low, but he's also on negative morale right now. I mean, he has 19 saves. Yeah, 7 blown saves on the season. He's struggling a bit this year. And he's still relatively dominant. The quirks are looking good. I mean, the excelling at striking hitters out, limiting hits, limiting home runs, that really does help with the walk. So, I mean, even if he's walking somebody, if he gives up a hit, it's not that dangerous of a hit. Did we have a position player make it? Not in the starting lineup. Ernie Christiansen has also made it. Bill Gerard. He was never available for us. Ernie Christiansen has made another All-Star game as well. His numbers certainly aren't as good as they were last year, so that's kind of surprising. Ralph Mosley also made it. All right. And again, offensively, in general, his numbers aren't as good as they were last year. But slowly but surely, I mean, it's been getting a little bit better. He's been such an interesting player. Is that it? It is. But we've had 3 players make the All-Star game, I believe, for the very first time. So the AL ended up winning that game. So as we get ready here, I mean, we are dead last in the division, 9.5 games back, but in the wild card, 7 games back. I don't know if we're making the playoffs this year, but we could potentially have a winning record. Now, taking a look here, Ken Linder, I mean, if we just go off of basic ERA and whip, Alan Boykin deserves a bit more time. I think we're going to be dropping Thorpe, and then Charley Hutson has actually been okay. So, yeah, Thorpe, buddy, you're not exactly up to snuff right now. Let's stick with Jed Jordan over Hutson, but Hudson's done well. I moved him at the beginning of this episode to the starting rotation over John Kida. That seems to have been the right choice, although Andrew Montez is not ready for prime time, but we're sticking with him. Mainly because we don't have anybody else to go with in the bullpen. And then lineup-wise, this lineup stays the same. Again, Christiansen, not quite. Again, not a great leadoff man, but Christiansen, Ling, and Mosley all want to play in primary spots. And if you remember, they're all catchers. So it's kind of a weird spot that we're in. We're likely to see us, let one of them go. It might be Ling, because he's the one that's going to be up. I mean, I think Ralph Mosley's the guy here. But Ling at 28, I think odds are, despite how well-rounded he is, I think when that contract's up, we are probably going to let him go, and we'll take compensation for him, which will be pretty big. And that way, I mean, again, you look at who we just picked up in the draft, but we do have Chad Brown as well, who's on his way up. It's going to pan out for us eventually, even if right now, while there's really good talent in this lineup, Cabral included, Summers included for that matter, the pieces just aren't perfectly in the place yet. And you look at the emergence of Scottie Valentine this year. Very good numbers in his second year. The OPS is down compared to what he did last year, but he only played in 23 games last year. He was a September call-up. So let's see what happens over the back half of this season. This is the first year where it's actually going to be interesting to follow along and not just immediately sim through, although in saying that, we get stomped by the White Sox. What can we do against the Royals? We'll find out after we fix this lineup. What's the injury? The injury is Jed Jordan with a broken nail. Charley Mares, damn, out for a month or two with a torn calf. So that is unfortunate. He's been playing in the field, though, which leaves me with the option of 4 sub-outfielders. It's got to be Hummel. I know he hasn't played that much. It's got to be Chris Hummel, though. Has to be. Obviously, we have seen what he has been able to do before. Took him out to emphasize the development of certain other players. So Hummel's going to get a chance to get back into this lineup. As, yeah, unfortunately, this team is slipping up a little bit more this month than I was hoping that they would. If we could get some wins here down the stretch, that'd be great. It's not looking like it's going to happen, though. Damn. So as of September 1st, we're at 46-59. Winning record, looking less likely. Our best season to date, looking more likely, but it's still not going to be that big of an improvement compared to what I was hoping it would be. So we're 12 games under 500 here. Seawolves have some injuries to deal with. We take 3 out of 4 against Chicago. What can we do against the Yankees, who are not good at this point? We win that series as well. 9 games under. We have 4 games against a decent well, maybe not a decent Tampa team. And we take 3 out of 4. So back up to within 7 of a 500 record. And this has already, again, been our most successful season to date. We're now 8 games under after losing 2 out of 3 to Philly. As we get ready to take on a very good Minnesota team, and we swept them. So 63-68. Let's sim the rest of August. We have 3 games against the Royals. We lose that series, so 64-70. Again, our best season to date. I can't believe our ranks are that low. I genuinely don't believe that. Genuinely. You look at that roster, you mean to tell me we're dead last? You mean to tell me we're dead last? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. How are we worse than Tampa? They're starting at 58. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You really can't put stock into those rankings. There's no way we're worse than Tampa. There's no way. In terms of an overall well-roundedness, no. Not with Fabregas and Velasquez in there. That's absurd. That's absurd. That's absurd. They had some star players, but it's not as if we don't. Anyway. Again, I wish we could change who's leading off. Unfortunately, again, Ling, Mosley, these guys just aren't hitting as well as we need them to do, but we have to play them in those star roles. So this team, man, Hummel's been great. This team is pretty much locked in for now. Let's go ahead. We'll sim the rest of this season, and hopefully we can continue to battle for 500 through the rest of the year. 3 games against the Blue Jays. We take 2 out of 3. 4 games against a just over 500 Cleveland team, as the AAA ball club was terrible. The AA ball club was worse, as we split those 4 games against Cleveland. So 5 games under. What can we do against a decent White Sox team? Win 2 out of 3. We're 4 games under. Please. I think that's my goal. We're not going to make the playoffs this year, but if we can just finish above 500, I'll be happy. We're 5 games back in the wild card, man. A hot month could do it for us. And with September call-ups, obviously, there's just 1,000 people on this roster right now. So, we'll see what happens. Let's do this. 3 games against a struggling Oakland side. We swept them. We're 1 game under 500. We get to play the White Sox again, who we've struggled against all season. They're 2 games over. What can we do here? We lose 2 out of 3. It's 16-2 win, but we lose 2 out of 3. So we're 2 games under again. 3 games against Kansas City, who are also battling to get above 500. We lose 2 out of 3 again. So we are 3 games back of 500 and now 6 games out of the wild card. So our playoff hopes and dreams probably dead in the water. But that 500 goal is still achievable. 3 games against Atlanta, who may very well finish with the top record this year. We lose 2 out of 3. We're now 4 games back again. Here we go. 3 games against Cleveland. 3 games against the Mets. We're not going to finish above 500 this year. Damn it. I wanted that so badly. 79-83 on the season. For the first time, though, we are out of the basement of the division as the Royals finish below us. We were actually up there. 79 wins. I mean, it's respectable. We could have finished above 500. It would have been a bit of a stretch to think that we would have made the wild card. But that's respectable. We're getting there. We're getting there. Again, it's not as good as we probably should be, given, some of the members of this team. I don't feel like that's unfair. But we're looking okay. Batting average-wise, we were 23rd. That kind of doesn't surprise me. And then for runs scored, we were 18th. Okay. So just to take a look at the stats here for the end of the year. So Ken Linder proving to more than likely be our ace, although Alan Boykin, who's C potential, isn't he? Yeah. Alan Boykin had a phenomenal season. Jed Jordan under a 4 ERA. Charley Hutson, John Kida, And of course we had some September call-ups. Lewis Thorpe just wasn't great. The game actually ended up bouncing him to the bullpen. And obviously some of these other numbers. Yokoyama, 62 strikeouts on the year. And yeah, Eric Encarncion's up to a 98. He finished with phenomenal numbers. And then lineup-wise, Christiansen took a big step back this year. That's a big part of the reason as to why we didn't do as well as we could have. Jeff Mendoza, up to an 87. Average was about the same. On base got better. Slugging dropped, and as a result, the OPS dropped, which is a shame, but still decent. Pretty good, if anything. Cam Ling, the average drops. The on base was about the same. The slugging falls off, too, so yeah, the OPS fell off quite a bit. Sets a career high in home runs, though. Ralph Mosley continues to just be an enigma. When he hits the ball, it goes far, but it's just a matter of, is he going to hit the ball? Still, though, the numbers weren't as good as they could have been. Cabral. The average was up. The on-base was up. The slugging was down, though, so, Justin Summers. Average is down. On-base was down, but the OPS is up due to an improved slugging percentage, so 27 home runs, 86 RBIs for Summers this year. Chris Hummel, who did not play the full year, only played in 80 games, but he was great. 811 OPS, 387 on base. Scottie Valentine. Numbers dropped off a bit compared to what he did last year, but again, that was a limited sample size. And a 760 OPS, it's okay. Now, an argument might be, what would we have done had I put Scottie Valentine at leadoff and just not worried about Christiansen, Linder, and Mosley being happy as star players? That's a fair point, but I was hoping that this would work out for us, and in a way it did. Again, we had our best season to date, but obviously we are inching ever so closely to having to make some big-time decisions with who stays and who goes, and hopefully being able to time those decisions at the right, perfectly, as to when it's like, okay, we can get compensation for this guy, get those extra draft picks, even if they might not pan out for us, let's be honest. We only have a limited number of draft picks per year, but if we can make that work for us, then we're looking that much better as the Texas Rangers sweep the Pittsburgh Pirates in the World Series. Scottie Valentine just won an award. World Series MVP David Boat. David Boat, despite not having a single RBI. That seems a bit broken. Josh Okimi and Nomar Mazara won postseason MVP. MVP J.J. Bleday and Rafael Devers, 47 home runs. Cy Young to Andre Wallace and Kyle Wright. Ronald Acuna and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in Cleveland win batting titles. Reliever of the year, Sam Gabriel and Tyler J. Top rookies, Blake Hunt and Scottie Valentine. Very happy to see what the young German can do moving forward. Hank Aaron Awards to Vlad Jr. and Ronald Acuna Jr. So that brings this season to a close. We are going to have some staff concerns. Retired players, we do not lose anybody that we are overly concerned about. And there were no Hall of Fame inductees this year. So staff-wise, we need a manager, and we need a pitching coach. Let's see who we can find. Adam McDaniel, or Ricky Ruiz. I'd probably go for McDaniel. Mainly because he doesn't have bunting improvements. Orlando Moya is a pretty damn good option for a pitcher. A pitcher-based coach. I think it's Adam McDaniel, or it was... Yeah, it's probably just Adam McDaniel or Moya. Moya's 45. I'm gonna go for Moya. I think that extra pitching control. Let's go for McDaniel. We'll give him $6 million a year to sign, and then pitching coach wise, because I think the other guy should be available, and he is. Although he's a slightly worse option. Is there anybody who doesn't have a minus? Because we can't really afford for our pitchers to be taking on negatives, even if they are extremely minor. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So a -1 in stamina for Ludwig, but a big control increase. -1 in walks, break, pitching clutch, dropping Ks, but a big improvement in control and break. Let's go after Moya here. And we'll pay him considerable money. So, for exclusive negotiations, now, of course, this is where we could get compensation. However, I think anybody that we had a good chance of getting compensation with, Eric Encarncion or Alan Boykin, are guys that we want to keep, because Encarncion is a beast. It's just, will we be able to win within his time frame? He wants $11 million. To be honest, it's not that bad. We're going to have to pay him a little bit more, but that shouldn't be that bad. It really shouldn't be. Hello, phone alert. How are you? Hope all is well. So, I don't know. Maybe we do let go of Eric Encarncion because of what he could bring back. I don't know. Maybe I'm very much leaning towards keeping these two. I think that's the right way to go. But in a way, I'm intrigued. I don't know if Charley Hutson would be claimed. We could try to let him go. If he stays, he's on a massive contract, though, but we have the money to afford it. I don't know. And then Thorpe, we should probably let go of. You're not worth $7 million a season at 32 years old. You are still an 81. But he had a rough year. You know what? I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I think we keep Encarncion and Boykin. Hutson, I don't think we'll get much compensation for. Thorpe, we might get compensation for. He wasn't that good last year, but he's better right now than what his overall indicates. I'm actually going to end this a little bit early. And it's totally not due to that phone alert. But I am going to end this a little bit early because this is our first real opportunity to look at potentially getting compensation for a lot of these guys. And then you look at where this roster is, where, again, we are going to have some decisions to make. I mean, Miguel Corando is ready. I don't know if we can necessarily hold on to everybody and keep them happy up until the point where we can get compensation for them. But Miguel Corando, he's ready for a shot. Scottie Valentine's here. Chad Brown, by the time next season rolls around, might just be ready. And then you factor in just how many players we've already changed around. There's a good chance that we're going to be dropping some very good players to the bench in favor of trying to boost up this team long term. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. I will see you in the next one. Drop a like on the video, would you? If you're appreciating. Not if you're appreciating. I don't need you to appreciate anything. I appreciate you. But if you're enjoying the series, let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Next year? Over 500? Please?